Most religious art is built to make you feel one thing: reverence, awe, the safe, upward pull of the sacred. But every so often, an artist makes something so alive, so physically convincing, that people feel the wrong thing entirely, and then spend the next 4 centuries arguing about whether they were ever allowed to feel it at all. In 1652, inside a modest church in Rome, a sculptor unveiled a statue of a saint caught in the middle of a divine vision. It was commissioned by the church. It was blessed by the church. It was built to glorify the church. And almost from the moment it was revealed, people looked at it and saw something. The church supposedly never intended something so intimate, so unmistakably bodily, that visitors still lower their voices in front of it today. This is the Ecstasy of Saint Teresa. And the strangest part of its story is not that it scandalized people, it is who paid for it. Walk into the church of Santa Maria della Vittoria, turn to the left transept, and you find the Cornaro Chapel, and inside it, floating above the altar, a woman who appears to be dissolving. Saint Teresa is not standing. She is not kneeling in tidy prayer. She has collapsed backward onto a cloud of marble, her body gone completely limp, her head fallen back, her eyes closed, her lips parted. Beside her stands a smiling angel holding a long golden arrow, drawn back and aimed at her chest. Behind them both, a fan of gilded bronze rays pours down, lit by a window you cannot see. Everything about the scene is white stone and gold light, and everything about the woman's body says she has stopped being able to hold herself up. To understand what you are looking at, you have to go back to the woman herself. Teresa of Avila was a real person, a Spanish Carmelite nun, born in 1515, a reformer and a mystic who wrote down her own spiritual experiences in unusual, unguarded detail. In her autobiography, she described a vision that would become known as the Transverberation. An angel, she wrote, small and beautiful, appeared holding a golden spear tipped with fire, and drove it into her heart again and again, deep enough to reach her entrails. The pain, she said, was so severe that it made her moan aloud, but the sweetness of that pain was so overwhelming that she could never wish to be rid of it. She insisted it was not a physical pain, but a spiritual one, and then admitted, in the same breath, that the body had a share in it, that the body, too, took part. Bernini took that paragraph and carved it into marble, and the reason the sculpture unsettles people is that he obeyed it completely. Because Gian Lorenzo Bernini did not simply carve a figure, he built a theater. The hidden window above the altar is angled to catch real daylight and send it streaming down those gilded rays, so the whole vision seems lit from somewhere beyond the room. On the 2 side walls of the chapel, he sculpted members of the Cornaro family, seated in what look exactly like opera boxes, leaning out from the marble, watching, murmuring to each other, which quietly turns you, the viewer, into one more member of an audience witnessing something private. And the drapery covering Teresa is not really cloth at all. It churns, it boils. It behaves like weather, not fabric, because Bernini is using it to show you an internal event you could otherwise never see. He is making the invisible visible by forcing the body and the cloth around it to do all the describing. And the technical control is staggering. The same white marble reads as cloud, as feathered wing, as soft flesh, as molten falling light, all in one group. The face is the sharpest problem of all. The parted lips, the half-lidded eyes rolled back, the total surrender of the jaw and the throat. It is carved with such precision that it does not read as a generic expression of piety. It reads as a specific human being, in a specific moment, feeling something specific. And that specificity is exactly what people cannot get past. Now here is the turn the whole story hinges on. We imagine the Catholic Church as the offended party, the stern institution scandalized by a work that slipped past it, but that is almost the opposite of what happened. Decades earlier, the Council of Trent had explicitly called for religious art that moved people, that used beauty and drama and raw emotion to pull believers back toward the faith during the Counter-Reformation, when the Church was fighting to win souls back from the Protestant reformers. Emotional, overwhelming, sensory art was not a danger to be tolerated. It was the strategy. Bernini was the favorite artist of popes. The chapel was commissioned by Cardinal Federico Cornaro. This was not a provocation smuggled past the authorities. This was sanctioned, funded, celebrated devotional art made by the establishment's most trusted hand. The institution people assume was scandalized is the institution that ordered it. And yet, almost immediately, and for centuries after, viewers kept seeing something else. An 18th century French visitor famously remarked that if this was divine love, then he was quite well acquainted with it himself. Later guidebooks grew visibly uncomfortable describing it. And in the 20th century, the psychoanalyst Jacques Lacan looked at the fallen head and the parted lips and argued that Teresa was plainly experiencing a pleasure beyond language that you only had to stand in front of Bernini's marble to understand exactly what she was feeling. The reading simply refuses to die, that in this one sculpture, the face of holy ecstasy and the face of physical ecstasy are indistinguishable. But is that a scandal, or is it the entire point? Christian mystics had been reaching for the language of love, marriage, and bodily union for over 1,000 years. The Song of Songs sits inside the Bible itself. The soul as the bride of God is an ancient idea, not a modern smirk. Teresa reached for the most intense sensation a human being can name because she was trying to describe an experience she openly said language could not contain. Bernini, you could argue, did nothing but tell the truth about her words. If her ecstasy looks like that, it is because she wrote it like that. The discomfort may reveal more about the person looking than about the saint. And look at what Bernini deliberately chose to include, because none of it is accidental. One bare foot slips out from beneath the robe and hangs in the air, the toes curled, completely slack, the single detail of a body that has stopped supporting its own weight. Her hand falls open, empty. Her head tips back past any point of composure or control, and the angel above her is not solemn or grave. He almost smiles, gently drawing back the arrow he is about to drive in one more time. Every one of those decisions pushes the moment towards surrender rather than serenity. Bernini could have carved calm. He chose to carve collapse. So here is the question the sculpture has pressed on people for nearly 400 years. Is the line between spiritual and physical ecstasy a real border, or is it a comfortable fiction we draw to keep the sacred clean and safe? Teresa herself said the body had a share in it. Bernini agreed with her, in marble, in front of a cardinal, inside a church, in full public view. And if the result makes you uncomfortable, that discomfort might be the most honest reaction the work can produce. The feeling that you are watching something you were never meant to witness, in a place that was built specifically to show it to you. The ecstasy of Saint Teresa still hangs above that altar in Rome. It is still lit by a window you cannot find. It is still watched by a marble audience that will never look away. And it still asks the same thing it asked the day it was unveiled. Are you looking at a soul touching God, or a body no one can stop staring at? The church commissioned it, praised it, and in almost 400 years has never once taken it down. Which may be the most shocking part of the whole story. It is still there, and it still refuses to tell you which one you are seeing.